G'day everyone, Jakub Mamulski from Heaps Agency here. Today we are going to talk about a topic which is quite prevalent in the gaming industry, and it's remasters. The last few years have seen a fair share of remasters and re-releases of games. To name just a few, Demon's Souls, which was the launch title for PS5, Neo Persona Trilogy 3, 4 and 5, especially the third one, or even Quake 2 have all re-entered the market and are, for the most part, available for a wide variety of gaming systems. Some more niche franchises also get remasters or even remakes, like in the case of Live Alive, or Live Alive, who knows, or Shining Resonance Refrain, but we won't talk about this one anymore. I currently play Nier Automata on my Switch. So why is this the case, and why do companies really love pumping out older titles? Let's find out. Firstly, the blueprint's already here. While ports often have additional features, new game modes, additional content and such, most of the time there is already a tremendous amount of work done beforehand. By this I mean that the story, characters, mechanics, original graphic and music assets, and all else that is to be reworked and revamped, such as the UI, they are already here. They can either be used as they have existed, could be reworked, or serve the role of reference material. This helps with speeding up the entire process of remastering or reworking a game. So we can get an up-to-date title that already has proven its market viability a while ago, using a fraction of the finances, time, and available workforce necessary for creating a new game, let alone a new IP. The next big thing about already existing material is the availability of both critics and community feedback. Games aren't perfect and won't cater to everyone. Some flaws are more glaring than the others though. I'm well aware that Quake 2, despite being a great title I've beaten a plethora of times, isn't a perfect game. The current devs and rights holders had not only their documentation and backlog, but also a vast majority of reviews and analyses of player feedback and sentiment. These resources can be used to make the game not only up to the current industry standards, but also to make it better than it used to be. And as people tend to look at the past with rose-tinted glasses, it's important to iron out what wasn't perfect during the original release. Some studios even tend to use controversial measures to deliver the remaster quicker and cheaper. Atlas, for example, AI upscaled the original graphic assets for Persona 3 Portable. While smart and cost-effective, such methods can be met with community backlash, as was the case at that time. Secondly, players are ready to buy. Square Enix, an industry giant, has been struggling with providing physical copies of the Final Fantasy 1-6 collection for the Switch. The reason's pretty simple. People loved, or at the very least were interested in these games, and want to have the ability to experience them on modern devices. This can be especially observed in the case of long-running IPs such as Final Fantasy and Star Ocean. However, most people don't use physical copies nowadays, and aside from creating an interesting market of collectibles and second-hand games, companies tend to focus on digital sales. And pushing a remastered game there isn't really a hard task. Players appreciate the fact that they don't have to face any shortages when trying to buy a copy of a game they used to enjoy as kids. Persona 3 Portable, I mentioned earlier, was able to sell at least a few 100,000 copies, if not considerably more, as estimated data for the Switch isn't available. Players are able to buy. The older one is, the less time they have to play video games. This is a sad reality of all gamers around the world. Making time count, players often focus on different activities like tending to their families, earning or trying a different hobby than gaming. What is undeniable though is the fact that older people have more money to spend. This pertains to many facets of the gaming industry, such as designing the monetization models of mobile games while considering the target audience. In this case, though, there is a perfect storm. A person who used to play the game an awful lot as a kid suddenly is granted the opportunity to rediscover something that meant the world to them. And they also happen to have money to buy it, right? A similar, albeit slightly different thing occurs when we talk about games that some have missed due to not owning proper hardware, but always have wanted to try. It felt odd to play Shin Megami Tensei 3 HD legally after all of these years of emulation, but it also felt right. People have also bought many copies of the game as it had a cult status on the PS2 and wasn't re-released until 2021. As we live in the age of cross-platform gameplay and people owning multiple gaming devices at once, this is an opportunity to earn money on titles that were limited in their first run due to the platform, as in the case of Shin Megami Tensei 3 or the remasters of Baten Kaito's games, which used to be only available on GameCube. Remastering is a great way of getting money from people who either already love your product or have always wanted to give it a shot. And a sensible pricing policy and making it accessible on multiple platforms are the key to realizing the newfound market potential. It's a great opportunity to train your devs. Remasters are often made to explore new technology or to develop your staff's skills. It's a great way to confront the staff with old industry standards, as these projects are often post-mortemed countless times. There is certainly a lot the staff can learn from them. Starting from seeing how methods and technologies were employed at a point in the past, going through assessing management and marketing measures to figuring out intriguing ways of using what's at their disposal. For example, Shin Megami Tensei 3 used a text-to-speech Maxint to provide vocals for its soundtrack. This can be counted as an intriguing exercise and expanding one's understanding of how games and the industry work. What happens when a game runs in an obsolete engine and can't be easily remastered, let alone ported to newer devices? It needs to be rebuilt from scratch. Most companies tend to use either Unity or Unreal Engine for the games. However, both these engines excel at different things. A remaster could be a great way to learn the ins and outs of the new tech which may be leveraged in future projects. An example of that is once again Shin Megami Tensei 3. Atlus decided to make it in Unity. Whether it was a good or a bad call, it's not up to me. The important part is that they acquired the knowledge to create and remaster games with the use of the technology, and this is always a good thing for the business. Flexing the portfolio. An established studio always opts to use its product portfolio to maximize profits and secure funding. Aside from the obvious part that is sales, there are also other ways to secure funding. One of them is by investors and their investments. Delivering a successful remaster to the market can show the possible investors a couple of great things to expect from the studio. Firstly, their IPs are strong and remain engaging for the audiences years after the installments get released. Secondly, they are able to deliver successful products with only a fraction of the otherwise needed resources. Thirdly, their games have the potential to become long sellers, which is a type of product that doesn't exactly fly off the shelves but maintains a long and pretty steady interest. And fourthly, their games can sell over and over again given enough time's passed. Who wouldn't want to invest in a company that's able to do that? The last point that I'm about to make isn't necessarily the most original, but it has to be stated. It's an amalgamation of the previous ones. Remastering games that used to be successful is a safe and viable way of running a gaming studio, and it's been like that for quite a long time. Ports aren't just a thing of a recent past, present and future. companies have been remastering their older titles since the early stages of the industry's development. Doom was released in 1993, Street Fighter II in 1991, and you could play these titles as new releases during most, if not all, of the console generations, not to mention PCs. Sure, new IPs and new installments are the biggest hits on the market. It's not only the hits that can sell well though. And the risk of failure while making a remaster of a cult classic is exponentially slimmer than when giving a new thing a shot. I'd like to see more new games on the market, but I can't see why things are how they are and don't expect it to ever change. Let's hope that we won't run out of new games anytime soon. And if there is even a sliver of chance anyone from Epic Games listens to this, please remaster Just Jackrabbit 2. I hope you liked this video, and if you are looking for someone to work on your game's marketing, let me know at jakub@heapsagency.com. Thanks for listening. Cheers.